beautiful people, and welcome to Let's Talk the Talk, the show where conversations empowered, inspired, and connect. I'm Bintu.
And I am Aisha. Today we are talking youth empowerment, public health, and how small steps can create meaningful change.
We are joined by a powerful young lady, a public health student at the Advantage University of West Africa, or volunteered in a dedicated memoir of Empowered in ELBC.
Please join us in welcoming our guest, Christina S. Tamba. Christina, to begin, please tell us a little about yourself and the work that you're currently involved in.
Okay, I'm Christina S. Tamba, and first off, let me say thank you to you guys for having this platform and for having me here today. So, like Bintu said, I'm a student of the Advantage University of West Africa, where I'm majoring in public health, something I'm so passionate about. Besides that, I am the founder and executive director of Empowered, a youth-led organization that tackles problems that we as young people are faced with and see how best we can solve those problems. Because we realize that in Liberia, we often talk about the problem instead of solving the problem. So based on that, we came together as young people to form this organization to help young people out there, to empower them, like the name says, empowered. In the work we do, we have been having awareness on health issues that affect young people and even older people. Like recently, the monkeypox, we went around doing awareness and then talking about time management, because that's one thing we as young people struggle with, managing our time. And we have been doing what we know best.
Ms. Tamba, can you please tell us first what inspired you to get involved into community work?
Okay, so I went for a student exchange program in the States, and then when I came back, I looked around like, how can I give back to society? Like the topic is small steps and then bigger change. So I literally sat down and started thinking. I started doing self-initiated projects going around in the community, doing teenage pregnancy awareness, because that's one thing within my community, most of the females are teen mothers. So I was like, how can I be of help? I know right now I don't have that much resources, but I know I have the capacity to do something to help other people. So I went around doing awareness on teenage pregnancy, and then it later went to poor sanitation, climaxed it with a clean out campaign. And within that time, I was still working with other community-based organizations. But then I sat down, I was like, I've been doing this. If I can just have it under one umbrella where I can have other people on board instead of myself just doing it, because I know two heads are better than one. So decided to call some of my friends on board and we started doing what we could and what we are still doing.
That's fascinating. So
Thank you.
Can you please tell how did that passion led you to join the Empowered?
Okay, so Empowered, my dad and I, kudos to him, we have been talking about this whole organization thing from the start. But then when I attended the Emerging Leaders Bootcamp, where it's basically on leadership, and it's not just teaching you, but how you can implement what you have learned. So when I came back, I sat down and I was like, my dad and I have been talking about this whole organization thing, and I know I have so much to offer. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to form an organization, and then the name came up, Empowered.
Okay, that's fascinating.
It is nice having you here. So you believe change begins with small daily actions, right? So what does that look like for you personally?
Wow, okay. I'll just run back on what I was talking about. I do believe like you have to start from somewhere before you reach somewhere. Basically, for me, I believe where I'm at with Empowered, even though we just established this year, but it began from small steps that I took from just working by myself, having awareness in community from house to house, and then decided to like get other people on board. So because I started by myself, I can literally do most of the things by myself, which has given me more advantage, because sometimes the thing is your vision. And if you're having other people to work on board with you, if they are not being serious, you already know what to do. So go about doing it. So the whole thing about Empower, I believe, it started from me going out in the community and talking to people and saying that, okay, I have so much to offer to these people. So why don't I call other people on board? And I think from what we are doing, there is still more and more and more that we have to uncover.
Okay, so that's amazing. So please share with us one practical example of how you have lived that philosophy every day.
Oh, okay. So for me personally, within my community, they say charity begins at home and ends abroad. So within my community, I don't get paid for it, but I don't want to be a teacher, but I believe that you can just do anything once you set your mind to it. So I think it was like last year, I started tutoring a little girl in the community. I usually call her my daughter, but she's like my little sister. And then it started with just her. After the end of the year, the end of the school year, she came second in her class. And then most of the kids started hearing about it, and most of them wanted to come at my house to have me to tutor them. And now I have like over 5 kids that literally come at my house every day from Monday to Thursday for me to tutor them. So I just believe that it started small, and even though I'm still doing it, I know probably in years to come I'm gonna be teaching someday. But I just believe like it started from that little girl, and every day I keep doing it, I keep doing it. I know there are greater impacts to be made.
Ms. Tamba, as the founder of Empowered, what kinds of activities or projects are you currently or directly involved in?
Okay, thank you so much. Work with young people under 3 pillars: education, health, and development. So over the time, we have had symposium, awareness, and seminars. So for March, we had a symposium on teenage pregnancy time management, because that's one of the problems I normally have for people when they don't manage their time. Sometimes we often hear Liberia time. So another thing is awareness. We engage into awareness. Recently, we have awareness on monkeypox, and we have a seminar partnering with the Liberian Academy on mental health. That is something that has been ignored a lot, but happily, most people are talking about it right now in our country. And then currently we are planning for the next year. So we'll have our retreat in December to discuss those activities that we want to have next year.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for the hard work and the impact into society.
Thank you. Thank you.
How has studying public health shaped the way you serve your community?
Okay, so public health is basically on the preventive side. So it's not about going to hospital to treat people. And one thing I have learned is how I go about meeting those people within the community. So within public health, they have something they call community entry, where before you go within the community to like meet people and just talk to them about health issue, you first have to meet the leaders within that community and tell them what you want to do and how it's going to impact the people that are in that community. So within the work that I do, based on the fact that we do awareness, we go into communities. So it has helped us to do it properly, not just going in about the community and just start talking to the people. So reach out to those leaders and then see how best to tell them, okay, we're going to do this and this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to impact the people within your community, and how can you as a community leader help us to go about this. Because sometimes you'll do community entry with the leaders and then they will say, okay, go out there and talk to the community dwellers. But then sometimes they'll be like, yeah, we can help you with getting them out of a specific area, and then you can just come and pass on whatever information that you want to give to them. So I think it has just helped us to make our work easier in public health. In this, what I'm doing, it has been helpful, it has been very important, it has just helped me to go about things the right way.
Ms. Tamba, what does youth development mean to you on a personal level?
Wow, okay. There are different kinds or types of development. So basically, youth development can be both of the mind and hands on. So I will take it from that two perspectives. So when it comes to development of youth, based on their mindset. I think that's one of our problems as young people in Liberia. We normally just have some young people in Liberia. We normally have this fixed mindset that okay, this thing it can get done. And once we have that mindset, no matter what anybody says, we don't want to try to get that thing to be done. So once we as young people can change our mindset to certain things and not just be like, oh, the government is supposed to do this, the government is supposed to do that. And even if the government doesn't do it, if I have the capacity to do it, I will do it. Once we have that mindset, we're going to move forward. So I think that's a major development that we as young people need to get into. And youth development for me on that side is very important, and that development is based on the mind. And then when it comes to hands-on, that is something that most people are focused on. It's not a bad thing, like you have vocational training and all that. They're all youth development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, in your work, how do you help others young people in building leadership skills?
Okay, based on our pillars that we use to help young people under education, we also focus on leadership. So, as a leader, you need to learn how to manage your time, and that's something that we have had a symposium on with other young people from one of the schools within my community. So, I think we are helping them now, basically on the mind. We are developing their mind instead of right now developing on a practical, like hands-on development. So we are more of mind development than the hands-on right now. So I think that's how we are helping young people in terms of development.
That is very important because time management is one of the struggles that we have.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so Ms. Tamba, you volunteer with other community-based groups like ELBC and being the executive director of Empowered. Why is that so important to you to be a volunteer?
Okay, so the thing is, in Liberia, or I will speak of Liberia because it's where I found myself and it's my country anyway. We normally want to get paid for everything. We normally want to get money. Oh, money is important. We all need funds to take care of things. But for me personally, I believe I learn from volunteering, and I get to like work with other people, learn from them, and build my working relationship. So even now, I'm not getting paid in cash, but at least I'm getting the experience, I'm getting hands on, I'm learning how to work with people that can manage time, and I'm also working with people that don't know how to manage time, and working with people help me to have a better view with how I can work with other people at that workplace and just have a great working relationship because of what I've been doing based on volunteerism. And volunteerism for me is my heart because I literally, when I went to my exchange program, I got a certificate for having over 100 hours of volunteerism.
Wow.
So for me, it's really, really important.
Wow.
Sometimes you just have to offer a service without expecting any financial thing in return because sometimes what you get is even more than the financial benefits.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about ELBC a little.
Okay. The Emerging Leaders Bootcamp is one of a kind. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Last year, 2024, I attended the Emerging Leaders Bootcamp and it was amazing. It was the best. And right now we have application open so you can apply. And then at the end of the bootcamp, I was voted as the face of the Emerging Leaders Bootcamp. And it has been amazing because it has also helped me in organizing other projects to work with people. Like recently, I did the Young and Woman, so it was strictly for young women just to create a safe space. And I mean, it was so amazing. It helped me to see things from a different view because I was the person that was like, if the place is not crowded, the whole program just be looking sick. But then from young and women, we were just 10, but then it felt like we were 20 in that room or even above because the bond was there, that safe space was created, and it was the best.
Okay. So what will you say to young people who want to volunteer but don't know where to begin?
The thing is, just reach out to people because if you're just sitting and saying you don't know where to start from, it doesn't help. Go out there, talk to friends, don't hold back because it's not about you not knowing where to start from. Probably you are just like, if I go reach out to the person, what will the person say? What if the person say no? Like my brother, my sister, just reach out to somebody. Tell them what you want to do. If they can help you, they'll either send you to somebody or they say, oh, for now I can't help you. And it doesn't hurt. You move on to the next person. The highest thing, don't just sit down and say, I don't know where to start. And then you just remain in that position. Reach out to people. Reach out to people, of course, model, of course, destiny. Reach out to people and talk to them about what you want to do.
Okay. Reach out to people.
Right.
Miss Tamba, what has been one major challenge you have faced while serving your community? That's fascinating.
It is. It is. I would say money. I mean, because sometimes you reach out to people for help and then it just, they read the letter, put it down, they don't give you any kind of response. You be holding on to them, having hope that they're going to respond. And sometimes you have to on and on sacrifice a lot to get it done because you don't want to fail just because of money. You don't have money. So I think that has been a major challenge, just gathering resources. Because I'm not working, depending on mommy and daddy's pocket. So, and my parents have been so supportive too. I must give them that, and other people too have been supportive. But sometimes they have their own things to take care of, and the little they can give, I appreciate that. But then it has been a major challenge to just gathering resources and trying to get things done.
Or what are some of the lessons you have learned from that?
The thing I've learned from that is always to have a plan B. If you probably have this, okay, I'm writing 10 people, and I know those 10 people are going to respond. What if those 10 people don't respond? What am I going to do? So once you have a plan B to everything, when plan A fails, you can already have a backup, and then you can go with that backup. So that's one thing I've learned, especially from organizing Young Woman program. That is something that I learned the hardest way, and it has been stuck with me since August because we had Young Woman in August. So that's one thing I've learned. Always have a plan B to anything.
True. So this is a message for the young people out there, especially those that are involved into organization, because money is one of the major things that people face whenever they are hosting programs. So thank you so much for sharing that view.
Yeah, thank you.
Miss Tamba, if a young person wants to make a difference but feels too small or unnoticed, what will you tell them?
So if you're small and you want to make a difference, there is no age for making a difference. I can always tell people my age doesn't define my capacity or my capabilities. Just because I'm small doesn't mean I can't do the thing you're doing. So even if you're a child, once you see that this thing needs to be done and I know I can do it, go ahead and get it done. Don't sit back and say, oh, I'm too small, they'll overlook me. That's just fear. That's just your mind. So you just have to go out there and start doing what you want to do. They can say, yes, I just know. And so don't let it define who you are. Once you know how to do something, just go out there and do it. Do you, man. Don't sit there and be looking for ish.
Age is just a number. Don't sit there and let your age define who you are.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's one simple step they can take today that will lead to a bigger impact tomorrow?
Recognize one problem and go ahead and find solution to that problem.
Okay. Always know that you're able to recognize one problem, go ahead and find a solution to it, and keep the ball rolling. So, Ms. Tamba, at the end of every conversation, invite our guests to leave us with just three words. Three words you want young people to carry with them after hearing your story on Let's Talk the Talk. So, what are your three words to every young person out there?
Okay, to every young person out there listening to me, seeing this my beautiful face, my three words are empower, time management, and volunteerism.
Okay, empower, time management, and volunteerism. Thank you.
Miss Tamba, that's beautiful. So can you please tell us why those three words?
Everything I have said, it has been centered on those three. So I'll start with time management. It's really, really key because people respect you when you respect time. Like when you go to a place very early, especially in country like Be Real, people really respect you. And then when it comes to volunteerism, it's not all about you. Sometimes you just have to give back to people and don't expect anything in return. Like I shouldn't say anything but financial benefits in return because there are other benefits from volunteerism. And then empower, help others. You can empower other people. You can empower their minds. You can empower them through the skills that you have just to pass over to them.
That's beautiful because that is one of the legacy you can leave behind by empowering people, right? Miss Tamba, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story.
Your story reminds us that real change often begins with simple and consistent actions. So we appreciate you for being on Let's Talk the Talk, and your story inspire all of us. Thank you so much.
This is Let's Talk the Talk, the show where conversation empower, inspire, and connect.